But obviously, at the heart of it is I don't trust Alvin Bragg's letter here. What do you make of it?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me back. There's a couple things to make of it. I think as a preliminary matter, as the chief law enforcement officer, he has to respond to something that could reveal the grand jury's proceedings, which is a secret proceeding. It's by law. If something happens in the four walls of that grand jury, it can't be released to the public.
Right.
So I think as that matter comes, he has to make sure that the integrity of the grand jury is preserved and the integrity of whatever investigation is ongoing now, whatever that may be.
Well, those are two separate issues, right? I'm confident that Pomerantz is not going to be disclosing grand jury material. Let me read you what he said. He gave a statement. He said, "I'm confident that all of my actions with respect to the Trump investigation, including the writing of my forthcoming book, are consistent with my legal and ethical obligations." So if he's saying that, there's no way he's going to be disclosing grand jury material. The second point, well, go ahead.
Well, I'd like to think that's accurate as well. But, keep in mind that any attorney, not just a private sector attorney, you have a responsibility to your client. And in this particular case, as a former government attorney, that would have been the people of the state of New York and indirectly or directly.
Oh, come on. That would mean you can never write a book ever. Then if you're an attorney who worked in government, you can never write a book. If your client is the people and you could potentially be hurting the people, then the book can never be written, right?
Well, again, I think that you have to have certain circumstances and certain materials that are shared. Some of the materials, as you just noted before, may not be in the grand jury, meaning something could have been shared in the grand jury, but it also could have been shared outside the grand jury. So where are you getting that information? Is it part of an investigation? Was it actually in the grand jury? So there's more liberal review of that. It's hard to say this information that he's sharing, whatever it may be, actually came from that body in that
right,
room.
But putting the grand jury aside, Bragg is not investigating Trump's finances. There's no way. There's no way after the civil lawsuit that was brought by Letitia James that he worked on, and after these two guys resigned in protest over not bringing charges after years of investigating, that he's bringing charges in connection with this case. That investigation is over. And that's why I think this is so disingenuous from Alvin Bragg.
Yeah, I think to your point there, the investigation, at least at all appearances, does seem like it's over. Do I know what's happening? Do you know what's happening? Did they learn more information through the course of Letitia James' case, through the prosecution of the Trump organization? Who knows what that revealed? But yes, that's probably a fair assumption based on what we know historically has already occurred, that the investigation is over. So is this an effort to say, hey, let sleeping dogs lie, that's not sort of bring back or give any color and light to something that we don't want to pursue, because there are political issues that may come to the front? That could be it too. We'd like to think that our chief law enforcement officers, and I have no reason to doubt Mr. Bragg generally is that same way, doesn't get suckered into that issue of politics. But there is that cloud that sometimes hangs over.
I think he's trying to cover his behind, and he is nervous about what Mr. Pomerantz will have to say. We shall see.
Could be.
Jeremy Saland, good to see you. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me again.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.